Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm going to be trying something a little bit different today. I'm going to be doing predictions for the upcoming UFC Paris card. Now, I'll only be breaking down the co-main and main event as they are really the standout fights of the card. So let's get into it. Okay, so firstly we have Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen, two really high-ranked middleweights. Not necessarily a title eliminator, but very close to it. With the right opportunities, they could get a title shot. So in this matchup, I'm picking Imavov. I think he's the favorite, but yeah, I'm going with Imavov. Because while Imavov has shown some, pretty glaring weaknesses in his game, like, again, he, lost to Sean Strickland on short notice, and, he didn't look great against Dolidze. I think you have to realize that Imavov still does possess some pretty good skills. Even though it was an early stoppage, he did put away Cannonier. He very impressively outstruck Buckley, and he did put up a pretty good performance against Strickland. I think you have to realize Strickland was quite a bit heavier than Nassourdine in that fight, and against a sniper like Imavov, Strickland's style works really well against it. And again, Imavov put up a really good fight. He has really good at kicks. At the time, his grappling's pretty underrated. He can kind of get muscled around in the clinch, but when it comes to just wrestling, he actually is really quite good. And his jiu-jitsu is not too bad either. He's very long, he's very powerful. His nickname is the Sniper, and he's very much earned that. Brendan Allen is kind of the opposite to Imavov. He's very sluggish, he's very slow, nothing looks polished or clean, but it works for him. But I just can't, he got knocked out by Chris Curtis, which, again, Chris Curtis is good, but again, Allen was hyped up as, this big prospect. I mean, he got stopped by Strickland, right? And I know Strickland can hit decently hard when he wants to, but it's really not a good look. Strickland left him doing push-ups and just dangling against the cage unconscious. And then Chris Curtis, again, knocked him out. Now, he did beat Curtis in the rematch, albeit the scoring is questionable. I actually haven't watched the fight, so I'm not going to comment on the scoring. And if you go and watch Allen versus Malkoun, right, while Allen does win that, Malkoun does almost beat him in the grappling just by controlling him. There's much bigger weaknesses in Allen's game, and it's not like Dricus where he has the athleticism to kind of get past these technical flaws. He just kind of makes it work for himself. So I do think Imavov will win. Now, if this was 5 rounds, I'd go Imavov maybe by 4th or 5th round finish, but since it's only 3 rounds, I'm taking Imavov by maybe 29-28, 30-27, that type of scorecard. I think he'll outstrike him. I think he'll nullify the grappling attempts. I think there'll be moments where Allen holds him against the cage and even lands some good shots of his own, but I do think Imavov will land the better shots more consistently and come out on top. Now let's get into the main event. I'm picking Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, even though he's the favorite, I do see a lot of people picking Moicano, and I can't blame them. I like Moicano, I want him to win. I think he's got a pretty good shot in this fight. But let's look at this realistically. How much of us picking Moicano is because BSD got knocked down in his last fight? Let's just think about that. I feel like if you give BSD this fight after his Frivola win, everyone would be picking him. Everyone. And I tell you why. BSD is an extremely good grappler. He's got really good get-ups, especially. He's very quick to his feet. And that's good against a guy like Moicano, whose wrestling is good and his control is good, but again, it's a jiu-jitsu guy. BSD is very, very quick to his feet. And I feel like that'd be very beneficial against Moicano. Moicano in his last fight got hurt to the body by Turner. Right? Benoit, doesn't discriminate where he goes. He will rip to the body with kicks and punches. And then he got dropped really bad. Now, I get Jalen Turner is a very different stylistic matchup, but you look at every fight that Moicano has, he more often than not gets hurt. You look at the RDA fight, right? He got absolutely battered, especially with left high kicks. Now, RDA is very good, and Moicano did take that on about 4 days' notice, but to get damaged like that is not a great look. And even against Drew Doby, he got cut open and his face swelled up real bad. And I just think Moicano is one of those dudes who, while he can grit and win, he does wear damage pretty hard, right? And the thing is, Moicano isn't a power hitter, right? BSD, even though he has a lack of defense, he still has a really good chin, right? Poirier hits very, very hard, and he hits in good volume, and he has very good timing. Now, Moicano does have good hands. Like, don't get me wrong, he dropped Cub Swanson with a jab, and he exposed Callum Cater on the feet. That's all great, but I just don't think Moicano has the power to sort of hold Benoit's pressure and just keep him, off of him. So I do think Benoit's going to win, and I kind of think it's going to be through a mix of sort of springing back onto his feet and just swarming against the fence, and sort of similar to how he did Thiago Moises. I do think it'll be a bit more difficult for him. I think it'll go into maybe the third or the fourth, probably third, and I think it'll be probably a TKO. Probably very bloody. I see Benoit going to the elbows. He reverses the position on Moicano after, putting in butterfly hooks, starts landing some elbows, cuts Moicano open. Moicano starts trying to get up against the fence. Benoit starts ripping to the body, ripping more elbows, maybe some knees, and then just eventually Moicano's going to fade. Or Moicano can, be the Brazilian zombie and grit it all out. But regardless, I do think that Benoit is going to win, and I do think he's going to win by a third round TKO. He is the favorite. However, if you are going to put money on it, I would actually put money on both Brendan Allen and Renato Moicano, as they are both very close fights, and depending on the odds, you could actually make some good money. But I'm really looking forward to this card. They really put on a good Paris card, even though they don't have Cyril Gane on it, which, good on the UFC for putting up a good card. But I'm very much looking forward to it, and I can't wait to do the breakdowns after the card. So, yeah, that's it for today, guys. Just trying something a little different. I hope you guys enjoyed, and enjoy.